Sometimes I think that the media is hard on Trump. Because I'll see shit that they get on him about that doesn't seem bad to me. I mean, a nigga got on Trump about not staying in the White House enough. Who gives a fuck? This motherfucker was rich. Used to shit in a gold toilet. It's true. I don't know if you've ever been to the White House. It looks like a very nice place to work, but I wouldn't want to live in that Scooby-Doo ass house either. That shit's terrifying looking. Imagine you trying to jerk off in the crib and Abraham Lincoln's just looking at you like... Shit, Bush didn't stay there either. He was rich too. He was like, fuck that, I'm going to my ranch in Texas. Obama was the first motherfucker to move into the White House like, this is a nice place. Look at this rug. The media got on him about putting Jared Kushner in his cabinet, and I didn't think that that was the worst thing he'd done. I mean, it was still early, and I mean, it's not unprecedented. Kennedy had his brother as the attorney general, right? And this motherfucker's a Washington outsider. To be honest with you, I'd probably do the same thing. As a matter of fact, I do. You think I go to a Hollywood meeting with all them white folks by myself? I bring my nigga Mac Mittens from the streets. I don't even know his real name. Everybody just calls him Mac Mittens. But I know he's not qualified to even listen to these meetings, but this motherfucker just makes me feel good. And all the white people look at me like, Dave, do you mind asking your friend Mac Mittens to excuse us so that we can talk business? And I say, fuck that. Anything you say to me, Mac Mittens can hear that shit. And he listened to the whole meeting. And when they done talking, I just look over at Mac Mittens, and if he gives me the signal, meow, meow, I'll sign the papers. It's a gut check. Well, how about this one? Remember when it was the day after the election and the president of Taiwan called Donald Trump to congratulate him? And Donald Trump, you know, of course, took the call and talked to the president of Taiwan. The problem with that was Taiwan doesn't have a president. The United States functions on what they call a one China policy, and Taiwan is a renegade province of said China. And Donald Trump didn't know that and picked up the phone and started yammering away, and the media ate his ass up. And I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing like shit. I was like, oh shit, this dumb motherfucker is in trouble. And then that night I was in bed drifting off to sleep, and then I had to admit it to myself. I was like, I didn't know that shit either. And then I realized the media got the story wrong. The story wasn't that Donald Trump took the call. The biggest story is that nobody told Donald Trump not to take the call. That's terrifying. God damn, nigga, you don't have a Mac Mittens on your team? It wasn't like they were calling the White House. They were calling the switchboard at Trump Towers, and they were getting through. Anybody. Mr. President, there's a Ricky Tikki Tabby on the phone for you? Yes, put him through. Hello, Ricky Tikki. Good to talk to you. Mr. President, there's a John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith on the phone. Oh, his name is my name, too. Put him through. Hello, John Jacob. Let's talk business. How many people in this room are not originally from the United States? By round of applause. Where are you from, bro? You right there. Iraq. You're from Iraq? Ew. I was fucking around. How long have you been here in the country?
23 years.
23 years? Are you a citizen yet? You are? Congratulations, nigga. Congratulations. Well, welcome to this great land. You know, I'm going to give you a history lesson, because I'm sure this wasn't on your entry exam. But every naturalized American has heard something about what I'm about to tell you. Picture it's the early 50s in the United States. This 14-year-old boy goes down from Chicago to Mississippi to meet his extended family for the first time. He'd never been to Mississippi. And before he went, his mother said to him, very pointedly, she said, if a white man looks you in your eyes in Mississippi, look away. And I don't know what you know about black people from Chicago, but they're not a scared people. Legend has it, he was in front of a convenience store, hanging out with his cousins, having a good time, and a white woman walked out of the store, and he thought she was pretty, and he said, bye, baby, not realizing that he had just made a fatal mistake. 4 days later, a group of adult white men burst into this family's home and snatched a 14-year-old boy out of bed in front of his family that was powerless to stop them, and he was never seen alive again. His name was Emmett Till. They found his body maybe a few days later. It was in a creek, tied to a wheel so it would sink, horribly beaten and bloated. Hideous. And lucky for everybody in America, his mother was a fucking gangster. She was. If you can imagine, in the very midst of a mother's worst nightmare, this woman had the foresight to think about everybody. She said, leave my son's casket open. She said, the world needs to see what they did to my baby. And every publication here in the United States, from Jet Magazine all the way to the New York Times, had this boy's horribly bloated body on its cover. And if our civil rights movement was a car, this boy's dead body was premium gas. This was a very definitive moment in American history where every thinking and feeling person was like, ugh, we gotta do better than this. And they fought beautifully, and here we all are. And the reason that I bring that up tonight and why it's relevant now is because less than a year ago, the woman that he allegedly whistled at admitted on her deathbed that she lied in her court testimony. And you can imagine when we read that shit, we was like, ooh, you lying ass bitch. Was furious. But that was my initial reaction. And initial reactions that we all learned as we get older are often wrong or more often incomplete. They call this phenomenon standing too close to an elephant. The analogy being that if you stand too close to an elephant, you can't see the elephant. All you see is its penis-like skin. You gotta step back and give it a better look. And on stepping back and thinking about it for a few moments, I realized that it must have been very difficult for this woman to tell a truth that heinous about herself at any point in her life, even the very end. And I was grateful that she had the courage to tell it before she left this world, because it's an important truth and we needed to know. And I said to myself, well, thank you for telling the truth, you lying ass bitch. And then time goes on, and then after time you can kind of see the whole elephant, and it's humbling because you realize that this woman lied, and that lie caused the murder. But that murder set in motion a sequence of events that made my wonderful life possible, that made this very night possible. How could this be that this lie could make the world a better place? It's maddening. And that's how I feel about this president. I feel like this motherfucker might be the lie that saves us all. Because I have never felt more American than when we all hate on this motherfucker together. Jesus Christ, it's good. And when it happens, I can see everybody that's struggling. So if I'm on stage and I tell a joke that makes you want to beat up a transgender, then you're probably a piece of shit and don't come see me anymore. Or if you don't understand that when a football player takes a knee during the national anthem, he's actually standing up for me, then you might not want to fuck with me anymore. But I swear, no matter how bad it gets, you're my countrymen, and I know for a fact that I'm determined to work shit out with y'all. And if that woman that said that heinous lie was alive today, I would thank her for lying. And then I would kick her in the pussy. Thank you very much, Washington, D.C. God bless you, and good night. You guys know I live in Ohio. In January, when this nigga Trump and Elon made this Doge thing and cut all those government jobs, the housing market in my hometown plunged 20% in the first quarter. And I don't mean to talk like a white. But boy, they did that, didn't they? And then when this nigga deployed the National Guard in my hometown and took the police department from the mayor, oh, DC niggas, we don't like that. But then my governor in Ohio sent our National Guard to police my hometown. And I called these niggas and said, I'm pulling up. Because these niggas is trying to take the chocolate out of Chocolate City. I said, I gotta go home while it's still a city I remember. And then I went on Instagram and saw all the protests in DC, and there was a bunch of white people like, not on our streets. I said, oh no, it's too late. These whites are entrenched. Not on our goddamn streets, you don't. This nigga Trump was talking like he goes out to dinner. It's not like that. Yep. And I gotta tell you the truth. This is not the only city this is happening in. It's happening in California. It's happening in Oregon. It's happening in Illinois. And it's happening in Memphis. And the niggas in Memphis, they might need it. You gotta be reasonable. I don't know if you've been in Memphis recently, but them niggas already stole 2 tanks from the National Guard, so you already know. You already know, you know. And I came here mad, ready to fight, but when I drove through the city, it looked clean, guys. I gotta tell you, it looked clean. A lot better than the last time I was here. Today I only saw one guy take a shit on the street. But you know what? He had a bag. That nigga picked it up. I was waiting for somebody to do something about the homeless. You know what's fucked up about DC? We the nation's capital, and nobody even gives a fuck about the homeless. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I feel like I'm the only one that does. Now, y'all don't know this, but quietly for the last 2 years, I have been secretly working with Washington's homeless, and I have spent $2 million already on my homeless project. No, don't clap for me. I didn't get them food or anything like that. I just taught these niggas to Thriller dance. And you got a big treat coming up on Halloween, you'll see. And I'm sorry I didn't come home sooner, but I've been very busy in Ohio. And a lot of people say, what are you doing out there? And I don't know if you know this, but this is true. I'll tell you what I've been doing. The town that I've been living in for the last 25 years, I bought most of it. I like it there. Ohio loves Trump, but this town I live in is like a little itty-bitty Bernie Sanders Island in the Trump Sea. All the whites are poor out there, but these are like the dirty hippie whites, and I like them. I like these whites. And they like me too. But you know what I learned about liberal white people? Liberal white people let black people do whatever the fuck they want until you buy most of their town. Oh, they frowned on that. Them whites got real suspicious. But you know what? I don't blame them. Because, no, for real, because look, if I was white and the people in this town were black, you know what they'd say? They would say I was gentrifying the town. But there's no word for what I'm doing to these people. I own everything, nigga, everything. I used to be mad at white people when I was young because I thought they were unfair. But now that I have all this property, I understand them. It's fun. Feels good to walk up to white people like, are you supposed to be here? Calling the police. It's fun. I own so much property in this town, and this is true. These white people think I'm responsible for their well-being. That's ridiculous, nigga. I'm not no public servant. I'm a capitalist. I'll be walking down the street minding my own business, and they come up to me with their concerns. Dave, congratulations on buying the whole goddamn town. But you need to start thinking about some affordable housing around here. And I'll be like, well, actually, champ, I can afford my house. That sounds like some shit you need to worry about. Because if I think about it, I can afford your house too. So if you want to sell, come holler at your boy. I'm collecting the whole town. I'm collecting the whole goddamn town. You know, I don't know where these poor whites got the money. But not long ago, these motherfuckers built a brand new fire station out of the blue. Where the fuck they get this money from? I was like, what the fuck is this? And then, you know what they did? This is some real racist shit. They tried to sell the old fire station at an auction when they knew I was gonna be out of town. It's fucked up. But it's far too late for that. I got that whole town rigged with snitches. Them niggas couldn't wait to tell me. They was running up, my lord, I have news, my lord. I was like, what's going on? It's just you say a firehouse. Nigga, I bought the firehouse. I turned that motherfucker into a comedy and music club. We be rocking in there. Clip's been there, we all be out there rocking. Every famous person I've ever met, I asked them to play that club. I seen Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones at a party. I asked that, I said, yo, Mick. I said, Mick, you gotta come to Ohio and play my club. And he was into it. He was like, all right. He said, all right. I like playing clubs. He said, but tell me about the town. I said, well, what do you want to know? And that nigga looked at me like you know, Mick Jagger look. He said, are there girls there? I lied right in his face. I was like, yeah. He knew something was wrong. He's like, no. Come on, Dave, you know, like the kind of girls that I like. I said, Mick, I don't know what kind of girls you like. And he said, you know, you've heard my music. Are there white bitches with dirty feet? I said, Mick, you are going to love this place. Mick, these bitches will put a ring around a public pool. Dirty hippie pussy, that's what I'm dealing with. I'm not a drug guy at all, right? But I am in show business, you know what I mean? So I've been to every kind of party. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I smoke weed, but I don't consider weed a drug. But you know how show business is. I've been to cocaine parties, I've been to weed parties, I've been to all the parties, and I'm just telling you the truth, what I've seen. Coke bitches are way prettier than weed bitches are. I be looking at weed bitches like, damn, bitches, you sleep in those clothes? The fuck's going on with you? No energy in their face. They don't wear their bra all the time, so the titties be sagging. Get your dick out of my face, man. That's how weed girl sounds. Not gonna suck your cock, man. My mouth is dry as a bone. You ever get some weed head? Feels gross, doesn't it? Feels like a cat sucking your dick. Like, what kind of... How do you not have any moisture in your mouth? Bitch, go wet your whistle and try again, would you? Drink some water. Yuck. Yuck. I know it's fucked up, but I tell you the truth. You know, everything's funny. Everything's funny till it happens to you. 3 months, a mere 3 months after that terrible attack that Chris Rock endured, I was on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, and a lunatic jumped out of the crowd and attacked me. Now, I gotta tell you, if it happens to you, you don't even know what the fuck is happening. It was like slow motion. I just looked over. I don't know this nigga. And I just looked and said, oh my God, I'm being attacked. And this motherfucker was ragged. He jumped at me. He was like, ah! I'm old, but I'm fast. I caught this motherfucker's head with my hand and pulled his hoodie over his eyes. I can still feel his head in my hand. It was spongy. He had been growing dreadlocks. Not the beautiful dreads that Rastafarians grow. These were accidental LA homeless dreads. This shit had leaves and sticks and bottle caps and shit in it. Some kind of grease. I was like, ugh, like this. And then I fell down. And he knocked me all the way on the ground. And I was like, man, this is a bad situation. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna die or what's gonna happen. But in that moment of vulnerability, you know what occurred to me that had never occurred to me before in my life? In that moment, it occurred to me that bodyguards should not wear dress shoes to work. Travis. This nigga Travis came out slipping and sliding on some kind of beautiful loafer and fell flat on his back. Bop. I said, oh my God. Now both of us are down. I gotta handle this shit myself. So I popped right back, boom. And then the kid that knocked me down, he popped out, boom, and we looked at each other and realized at the same time, I was bigger than him. And that motherfucker took off running. And I started to chase him, and I said, fuck him. I picked the microphone up. I said, I'm gonna finish this show now. That's right. For 3 months before that, I'd been making fun of Chris Rock. And people would ask me all the time. They'd say, Dave, what would you do if you were Chris Rock and Will Smith slapped you in the face? And to this day, the answer is the same. Well, I don't know what I would have done. I've never been in a situation that extreme. But I do know now what Will Smith would not have done. And that is enjoy the rest of his evening. Man, listen. We gave that kid a good while. We was whooping his ass. Not we. I mean, I was on stage trying to think of a joke to tell, but they was beating this nigga up right behind me. Everybody could see it. Everybody could see it. And I'm sitting up there trying to think of what to say. And I'm tongue-tied. Me, of all people, can't think of anything to say. Look at my karma. Just that moment. Of all the people in the world, Chris Rock walks from backstage, walks up to me in front of 20,000 people, grabs the mic out of my hands and looks at the crowd and goes, was that Will Smith? Man, motherfuckers fell out of their chairs laughing. I was standing there looking stupid. I was fucking furious because I'm thinking in my mind, nigga, this is my attack. You got attacked 3 months ago. Now you have jokes. So I snatched the mic back from Chris and tried to get one off, but my shit did not go good at all. I didn't know what to say. I was just like, it was a trans man. And the crowd was like, boo. It's LA, we like trans people, boo. I know, I felt so bad. I felt so bad. But I know why I did it. You'd have to be there to understand, but man, when that guy tackled me, it was like it's like a movie or something. You gotta picture this. Picture a famous person you like. Every famous person you could imagine was at that show. It was like the biggest night that Hollywood had ever seen. And when that guy tackled me, he cleared the bleachers. I had to watch the tape afterwards to know this happened, but as soon as he tackled me, Jamie Foxx was the first motherfucker that jumped out of the crowd. He was wearing a white cowboy hat like he knew this shit was gonna happen to him. Never seen this nigga in a cowboy hat before. And Jamie started chasing that motherfucker around like any given Sunday. And that kid was fast as shit, was juking and shaking, and he broke Jamie's ankles, and he just kept running. And then Jon Stewart from The Daily Show ran from backstage and jumped at this motherfucker like Super Jew. He was like, ah! And the kid seen Jon coming, so he jumped back, and Jon went flying that way. And this kid was fast, and then he turned around. He sees the emergency exit. He starts running for the emergency exit. Just before he got to the door, motherfucking Puff Daddy from Bad Boy Records jumped in front of the door. That nigga was like, Boy, Puffy got that motherfucker. And then every celebrity just ran out because every celebrity saw themselves in me, and they just started beating the fuck out of that kid. And I know Chris was backstage looking like, nobody helped me. Everybody hates Chris. Thank you. Thank you. I like not knowing what's going to happen. I like making memories. Sometimes I do all this crazy around my colleagues just so that they can tell their friends I did it. But rather than talk about myself, just briefly, I want to just talk about my genre. Stand-up comedy is an incredibly American genre. I don't think any other country could produce this many comedians. And unbeknownst to many people in this audience, I don't think there's opinion that it exists in this country that is not represented in a comedy club by somebody. Each and every one of you has a champion in the room. We watch you guys fight, but when we're together, we talk it out. I know comics that are very racist, and I watch them on stage, and everyone's laughing, and I'm like, that mother means that. Don't get mad at them, don't hate them. We go upstairs and have a beer, and sometimes I even appreciate the artistry that they paint their racist opinions with. Man, it's not that serious. The First Amendment is first for a reason. The Second Amendment is just in case the first one doesn't work out. We gotta let some air out of the ball, man. The country's getting a little tight. It doesn't feel like it's ever felt in my lifetime. So tonight, I am honored that my colleagues are here in comedy and in music. And I want everyone in America right now to look at me. Look at me.